Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Zero Analyst. This is the day 5 of our 30 days Python series. Thank you so much for showing so much love to all of my last 4 days video. Keep loving it and do solve all the exercise problem that I include in each day. Do share your feedback in the comment box. So today's topic is a dictionary, which is a list of key value pair data structure in Python. Day 4 video I've already covered what is tuples and all the operations that you can perform in tuples or list or sets. If you have not gone through the day 4 video, make sure to check out the day 4 video. Then you can watch this video. So without further delay, let's start the video. So let's first see the definitions related to dictionary. So it says a dictionary in Python is unordered, mutable index collections of key value pair. Each key is unique and it maps with a corresponding value. So we'll see all this term. So when you talk about unordered, that means it is not ordered like tuple or list. And the second, we have mutable. That means we can change the value in a dictionary once the dictionary is created, which you cannot do using tuples. And third, it says key must be unique, because with each key there will be a value that is going to be stored in the dictionary. So that means each key must be unique. You cannot have the same duplicate key. It is not going to allow. And then we have value can be any type. So that means you can store any data types in the values. So we'll see, we will create a dictionary and we'll see like all the operation that we can perform in a dictionary, and we will see what type of different data types we can store in the dictionary. So let's first create our first dictionary, and let's go ahead and add a code cell here, and I'm going to call it my dict. Okay, now this is, you can call anything, and inside it I'm just going to create a dictionary. So dictionaries are created inside this curly brackets, same as like sets. And now if I just execute it, so this is my dictionary. This is an empty dictionary. Even if I want to check the data types, I can say type of my dict, and you will see it is going to give us dictionary, which as you can see it here. So now it is a blank dictionary, so it doesn't have any data at the moment. I have just created it. So let's store some data on it. Okay, so let's say I want to store some data. So if in case I want to store some data in this dictionary, so what I can say that I can say that name, and let's start with the name. So I'm going to say name. So you can store this key as a string or as a number. So I'm going to say string at the moment. So name, and you just need to use this colon to store the data, whatever the data you want to store in this name. So in this name, I want to say call zero analyst. Okay, zero analyst is a text. Okay, that's my first object. Second, I want to start something called subscriber. Subscriber. Okay, now this is also a text string data. So I would say subscriber. Let's say I'm going to store here 12,500. Okay, this is fine. Now if you want to store more information, so I can store maybe city. Okay, and I can store inside the city, I can store name called Delhi. Okay, so you have seen I have stored here, I have stored the numbers data types, which is an int. Here I have stored string, here I have stored again city, so this is going to be again a string. I can also store something like maybe gender. So this is my fourth object. So in gender I am going to store male. Okay, so you can store different informations here. Okay, so now if I just run this query, it is still showing as a dict, but let's first see if in case we can get this value, right? So for that you can simply print the dictionary. I can just print it here. Now you can see in this dictionary I have this dictionary which is inside this curly brackets, right? Because that is the reason it is in the dictionary, right? So informations are stored in a dictionary based on the key value pair. So that means in each key you can store different values. You can store single values, you can store multiple values. If you want to store multiple values, you can store that. We will see how to store multiple values and how to store single values. You have already seen here, right? So here this name, it has single name. This subscriber, it has single subscriber. City, you can see I have the single city, right? So now let's kind of see I'm running this my dict, and you can see all the object that I have in my dict. Okay, so this is how we create dictionary. And now this is a normal dictionary. We can also create nested dictionary. That means inside a dictionary we can have one more dictionary. We will see that as well. Here what is important to understand is that you need to store information based on the key and value pair. So that means for each key you can store different values. Okay, let's see some operation that we can perform in dictionary. So here are some top operations that I have included which you can perform in dictionary to solve problems. So the first one called dict, that means the dict is the dictionary dot get. So the dot get key, so that means dot get key, based on this it is going to give you a value from the dictionary. Okay, now you can see here it says return the value for a given key. So based on this you can give a key, it's going to return that value. Let's say from here I want to see how many subscriber Nazir has. Okay, so for that I can simply go ahead and say this is called the my dict, so variable called my dict. If you just type dot, you will see all the operation that is available in a dict. So here you can see my dict. Okay, I have clear, copy, and get. So this is what we need. Okay, now if I say get, and if I want to see more details about this get function, so I can simply use a question mark, and you see it says a return value for a key. If the key is in the dictionary, if the key is not in the dictionary, you will be getting obviously error. So for now, let's say I want to get, what I want to get is that, let's say subscriber. So for that I would just need to say subscriber. The key, it is accepting string, or it can accept any. You can see, you can give a number as well also if you have a number object. Okay, now these are the key, right? In my dictionary, name is the key. In the name I have stored 0 analyst. You see in the subscriber I have stored this, in the city I have stored this, gender I have stored male. Okay, now what I can do here is that I can say simply subscriber. Okay, now this subscriber is a string, so I must need to give it like this way, and you will see it is going to return me the number. So this number is associated with the key of subscriber, which is here, you can see, right? Now if I want to see name, so I can simply go ahead and say here, instead of subscriber, name. Okay, now you can see the name is 0 analyst. Okay, so we can create a different dictionary. Now this is based on the get functions. You can see, even without get functions, you can get the data from a dictionary. For that, you can simply use the dictionary name. So let's say the dictionary name is my dict. You can use the square brackets, and here you can give the key. Okay, so what is the key? Let's say I want the name. You see I'm getting 0 analyst. So both way we can get the name based on the key. Okay, so here I'm giving the key, or you can simply say get. Okay, that is how you get the value based on a key. Okay, you have seen both the options. Let's say you want to see all the keys that are available in a dictionary and all the values that are available in a dictionary. So there is two way. One is you can say my dict, and I want to see all the keys that are available, right? So we can use this keys operations, so that's called keys. And if you want to see the definitions regarding it, just press it, and you can see a set like object providing a view of dictionaries keys. Whatever the keys I have in my dictionary, I will have it here. For that I would just need to use this parenthesis, and you can see I have key called name, I have key called subscriber, I have key called set city, I have key called gender. So all these keys I have. If I need the values, okay, if I need the values, so I can use again my dict, and this time I'm going to say values. Okay, values. You can see, if you want to see the help regarding this, you can just run a question mark. So it says an object providing a view of dictionaries values. So all the values you will be able to see now. Okay, for that we can just run it. You see I'm getting all the values. So based on the keys, you can see all the keys that you have now. Then based on the key, you can filter it whatever you want to see, and based on the values, you can get all the values from this dictionary. Okay, so that is what we have seen. Let's see some more operations. Now we have one more something called items, which is going to return everything from your dictionary, all the items. Okay, like a set. So for now, let's say I want to see all the items. My dict items. So this is the function which is called items. If you want to see help related to it, so we can just say question mark, and it says a set like object providing a view on the dictionaries item. So that means you will be able to see each and everything, keys, values, each and everything. Okay, so you can see my dict items. So it says name I have, then I have 0 analyst. Now I have the information based on what kind of set, right? In the set, this is a tuples, and this is another tuples, this is another tuples. Okay, all right, so this is what we have seen. Now we have update. You can see update the dictionaries with element from another dictionary, or iterable of the key value pairs. So you can update in the dictionary, you can update something that you want to update. Now let's see other function that we have in dictionary. So it says update. So update the dictionary with element from another dictionary. So you can update the dictionary with element from another dictionary as well, which we will see. And then we have clear, which is going to remove everything, again same as like list and tuples. So let's say clear. Now let's say I want to clear everything. So my dict dot, if you just say clear, and you can simply run it, and I'm just going to print my dict, and if you see now I have nothing. So that means all the elements are gone. Okay, so this is the clears. Now we have pop as well. Based on the pop, you can give a key, so it is going to remove that key and value, and you will be able to see the result as well. So let's create one more dict here. Okay, so I'm going to say that person, and inside the person I want to create a dictionary. Okay, and I want to store some informations here. So I would say what I want to store is called again name, same I want to store, and I want to store call age. So this is again string. So string I need to enter like this way. I can go ahead and say kind of 25 Next what I want is salary. This is also a string. Okay, and I can go ahead and say that maybe 55,000. Okay, so this is fine. Now I can even the keys I can give the number as well. Okay, so I can say 1, and inside the 1 I can save something like maybe, you know, ABC, anything you can store. Okay, so let's see. You can see it has created the dictionary. So the dictionary name is person. Now if I want to get from this person, if I want to get from this one is the key, right? This all the keys, right? Name, age, salary. If you want to see all the keys, I can simply go ahead and say keys, and it's going to give me all the keys. So I have name, age, salary, and something called 1. Okay, now based on the keys I can get anything whatever I want, right? What we have already seen. So I can go ahead and say that get functions. I have two functions. One is get, or I can, one is like simple square bracket I can use. So I can say get, and I can give the key. So key I want to give as 1. You see I'm getting ABC because this 1 is the key here. Okay, let's say we want to get something called the salary of this person. So we can go ahead and say salary is a string, so I just need to give it this way. Okay, I will have the salary. Now one most important update here is that the keys are sensitive. So that means if in case we store something like this, if I just go ahead and say name, okay, equals Sam, okay, and name equals Sam, okay, so both the name will not return the same result, right? The reason is that now both the name will be different, right? So the thing is that this one I can just say Rex. Okay, now both the name will be different because this name start with a capital letter, so this name is not equals to this name. Okay, so dictionary keys are the same. If you have one key with the capital letters, that's going to give you the different values. If you have one more key with a small letter, that is going to give you the different values. Okay, so the keys are case sensitive. So we have seen how to get the elements. Now if you want to get the values, so we can go ahead and say person dot values. Now we have already seen this. Okay, we're getting it right. Now let's see, we want to update something. Okay, now we have one dictionary which is called person. I'm going to create one more dictionary called skills. Okay, now let's go ahead and say the one more dictionary I'm creating called skills, and inside this skills I want to store something called, what I want to store is something called data. Okay, so soft skills I can go ahead and say stores something like SQL. Okay, I want to say dashboarding skills, I want to store something called Tableau. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, now I have two dictionary, one is called skills and one is called person. So in person I have this person informations, and in skills I have this skill informations. Okay, let's see some more functions. Let's say now I want to remove this object from this person. I want to remove this one. Okay, so this pair which is 1 and this ABC, so this is unwanted. So the way we can remove it, there is a two way again. We can just go ahead and say pop. So for that I can just go ahead and say person, which is my dictionary, and I can go ahead and say pop. Let's see the help related to it. So we can just say question mark, and you can see it here. It says you need to give this way. Okay, so your dictionary name pop, and you need to give the key like this. Okay, key, and here you will give your key, and it's going to remove the specified key and return the corresponding values. Okay, it's going to remove that key, and it's going to return the value. That means once it is returned, you will know that okay, it has removed it. Okay, now let's go ahead and say I want to say pop, and inside the pop I want to give the key. So what is the key I want to give? I want to give key called 1. Okay, let's kind of run it. You see ABC. Okay, so value is shown here. Now let's go ahead and see the person dictionaries, all the items. So for that I can simply print it here, and I can go ahead and say person. So you see I have name. So for name I have the key, for age I have the key, for salary I have the key. Okay, so this is how you remove it. Now how do we add a new object, or how do we modify object? So we will see both of the things. Okay, so let's go ahead and say I have one more dictionary which is skills. Here I have data and dashboarding. Okay, now I want to add some new elements here. So I would go ahead and say that adding new elements. Okay, so you need to ensure that whatever you add, it has to be key and value pairs. That means if you're adding a value, so there must be a key. Okay, so let's say I want to add something else now here. Okay, so what I want to add here called cloud, and I want to add inside the cloud I want to add AWS. So this is what I want to add. Okay, for adding, because this cloud is going to be the key, so that means what is the cloud knowledge that person has. Okay, and I want to store this AWS. So for that what you need to do is that, see, In this skills we don't have anything called cloud, we only have two key, data and dashboarding. If you want to check, I can just go ahead and print call skills dot keys, and if you see I have only two keys, data and dashboarding. Right now I want to add one more key, cloud. In the cloud I want to store AWS. Okay, so for that what you can say, that you can say skills, and skills you can just define it something like this. Okay, and let's say my key is going to be cloud. Okay, and what I want to store here, I just need to define it here. Okay, so I'm saying this is my skills of this cloud. That means it is a key of this skills. At the moment I don't have something called clouds. Okay, you see if I am dragging it here, it says variable skills. Okay, and then I can give different string what value I want to store. So what I want to store is simply AWS. Okay, and at the moment, and after that I want to print this skills. Okay, now you can see I have in this dictionary I have data, and inside the data I have stored SQL. In the dashboarding I have stored Tableau. In the clouds I have stored AWS. Okay, so this is how we add the records. Okay, now next task what we want to do is that, let's say we want to change this AWS to GCP. Okay, so for that what you need to do, you need to just follow the same pattern. Okay, you can just go ahead and say skills cloud, and that means you are accessing for this dictionary which is skills, and you are accessing based on this key. Based on this key you are accessing this AWS, and you are going to say that I want to assign something else new which is called GCP. Okay, at the end I want to print which is called skills, and let's see, you see now the GCP is added. Okay, now that is the reason the dictionaries are mutable. That means dictionaries are changeable. After creating the dictionary you can add a new elements, you can modify the elements. You have seen how to modify the elements. Now I have seen how to add new elements and how to modify existing elements values based on the key. So that means what we can say, that in the dictionary we can add a new elements, and we can modify the elements based on a key. So let's see what else we can perform. Okay, now we have seen pop, we have seen clear, and we have seen item, we have seen values, we have seen keys, and we have seen dict, which is we have seen again keys, right? So let's now see the update. Okay, for the update it says update dictionary with element from another dictionary. Okay, so we can create two more test dictionary here. I will just go ahead and say that dict1. Okay, in the dict1 I just want to store one values. Okay, that's going to be name. Okay, so inside the name I want to store a car name. Okay, here, so I would just go ahead and say Ford. Okay, and that's what next what I want is dict2, and here I want to say that model. Okay, now model is also a string, so you will go ahead and say that in the model I want 2021. Okay, so this is a number. Now in one dictionary I have this element, in the second dictionary I have this element. Okay, and even I can have more if in case I want. So I can go ahead and say color is my third object in this dictionary, and I want to store something, store called black. Okay, so I have two dictionary, one dictionary with one element, one dictionary with two elements. Okay, now what I want to do is that I want to update this dictionary with all these elements. Okay, from this dictionary. So for that what I need to do is that I can simply go ahead and say dict1 dot update, and in the brackets I can put my dict2. Okay, once I enter it, and last what I want to do is that I want to print this result. Okay, dict1. So I would say that dict1. Okay, let's run it. Now you see, now in the dict1 I have name, I have model, and I have color. Okay, so everything is updated from this dict2 to the dict1. Okay, that is what the update function does. So in using update functions you can update elements from a different dictionary to another dictionary. Okay, all right, so we have seen all the operations related to dictionary. Now let's go ahead and create another dictionary where I will be storing multiple values in a single key. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a new cell here, and we will say dict with multiple values. Okay, so I want to call here data analyst. Okay, and in the data analyst this is my dict, and I want to store simple, and I am going to add skills. Okay, skills, and in this skills variable I am going to, in this skills key I want to add all the skills that is required for the data analyst. Okay, so for that I am just going to say that what I want is maybe Excel. Okay, that's my first skills. Second, what I want is AWS. Okay, third, what I want, see, as soon as I enter AWS, it is giving warning sign. That means, hey, see, dictionary entries must contain key value pairs. Okay, that means we can only store the information based on the key or value pairs. But thing is that in this skills we want to store multiple values. So how do we do it? So I want to, let's first enter the information. Let's see how we can do it. So I'm saying AWS, and I'm saying maybe Python, and I'm going to say SQL. Okay, and I'm going to say Tableau. Okay, so I'm saying Tableau, and maybe I would also say Power BI. Okay, now if I execute this, it's going to throw an error, you see, unexpected. So that means we have something called AWS. Okay, so that means here all these things is causing the issue. Okay, you can see unexpected, right? So unexpected, you can say unexpected after this sign. Okay, so the problem here is that in the dictionary you cannot store. If I delete everything from here, you see it's kind of giving no error, right? But we want to add multiple values in a dict. So for that, what you can do two things. You can either store the values as a tuple, or you can store the values as a list. So for the tuples you can use this, for the tuple you can use this kind of list. For the list you can use this square bracket, and if you want to store in a tuple, then you can use the kind of parenthesis. Okay, so this is my skills, and now see I am not getting any error. Now let's go ahead and say that I want to create one more elements in this unticked. So for that I'm going to say here is that soft skills. Okay, and the soft skills I want to store maybe some more informations. Okay, kind of go ahead and say what I want to store is that as a tuple this time, and I will go ahead and say here, oops, I cannot say equals here. I need to say this, I need to say column, and here I can add maybe something called communication presentation. Okay, problem solving. Okay, so this is fine. Now if I just kind of run this, it's going to create data analyst dictionary, and in this dictionary I have, you can see I have this skills elements, and in these elements I have more than one records. Okay, very important concept. In the soft skills I have a tuples where I have also more than one records. Now let's see how do we access. Let's say I want to access this AWS from this dictionary. How do we access? Now you know that in dictionary you can just go ahead and say data analyst, and from the data analyst you can give the key and you get the data, right? Whatever you need. Let's say I am saying that what I need is the skills, and if I give the skills and I get all the skills, right? So in the skills I have Excel, AWS, Python, and everything, right? But you see this is returning at the end, this is returning a list. Okay, now if in case we want to access this AWS, or we want to access this Power BI, so you can, because see now this is a list. Okay, this itself you can see this is going to be a list at the moment. Now what you can do is that you can simply go ahead and say that indexing options. So we can go ahead and say that what I need from this is that maybe this AWS, so that's going to be 0 and 1. So if I just give 1, you see I am having AWS. Okay, so this is how we can access specific key from a dictionary where the data types is a list or a tuples. Okay, same way we can do for the tuples as well. So for the tuple, let's say I want to access this last element, so I can go ahead and copy this and use it here. Let's comment it out, and let's go ahead and say the data analyst instead of skills I would just use this soft skills key, and I'm going to say that what I need is this last element, so that's going to be -1. I'm using negative indexing now. You see I'm getting problem solving. Okay, so what we have seen now is that how to create a dictionary, how to add elements, how to update existing elements, how to see all the keys, how to see all the values, and how to get the values based on simple square bracket functions. So all these functions we have seen, right? Now next topic that we will see, which is a nested dictionary. So let's see how to create a nested dictionary and what does nested dictionary mean even. For nested dictionary, that means inside a dict there would be one other or two or more dict. Okay, so this is how it's going to be. So let's say I am going to say nested dictionary is like my dict. Okay, inside the my dict I have a dict, which is here I usually add a values like key and values, right? Same way I do it. Now I'm going to edit this way. Okay, inside this dict I would just say that instead of having, see, I can have something like this, key and value, right? So key values, one elements. So let me just go ahead and put it in next line, and now I can go ahead and say that again key 2 and value. This is my second elements. Okay, so let's say I have two elements. Now I can have more. Let's say I would say key 3 and values. Okay, so this is my third element. So I have all these three elements. Now this is a single dict, right? What if I want to say that in this, what I can do is that here I can store one more dict. Okay, I can do that. So for that, what I will do, I will go ahead and say inside this key, and I'm going to name this key as call maybe car. And inside this car, what I will have is that, so car is a string. Let me just fix the kind of that spelling, and here I want to store informations about like all the values I have, right? So let's go ahead and say here I want to say Ford, and I would just go ahead and put some values. Okay, but these values I want as a dictionary. Okay, so what I will say, what I need is that here the model, maybe name, and name I want to store call maybe eco sport. Okay, so that's fine. Next, this is my inside this dict. So this is my dict, right? In this dict I have call name, and inside name I have this, right? I can add more elements here. So what I can go ahead and say here is that if I want to add more elements, I can just put some extra line here. I want something called model, and I can add maybe 2021. Okay, and I can add price, and I can go ahead and say, let's say $25,000. Okay, so the price is also a text which is string. So this is my dict that is stored in this key which is called Ford. Okay, fine. Now I'm getting error because of this, so I will be adding some more information. So let me, here what I want is my second car, that's going to be maybe from Tata. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this. Tata is also string, so this is my key. So here I'm going to add my kind of the information that I want to store in this Tata key. So what I want to store here is also a dict, and the dict is going to be now after this. Okay, so this is my first element, right? So this element doesn't know if in case I'm having dict or inside it I have a list, tuple or tick. Okay, so I would just give a comma here, and I am adding my third element. So let me just delete this element for now. Okay, so I'm adding my third elements, so that is going to be something like this. Okay, so let's say I want to say here what I want is kind of the model. So I would say name, and I'm going to say Safari. Okay, next what I want is call model, let's say 2022 3. Okay, so model is also a string, and I want maybe the price, so I would go ahead and say 55,000. Okay, now this is, if you see, this is a dict, right? So now you see this is the second element that I have added, which is called second key, the Tata, and inside the Tata I have all this information. Right now I would just need to assign it. Okay, so if you see now here what I have is that very simple. Okay, this is my dict, and inside my dict I have kind of this informations. Okay, which is one product informations, and that is I'm storing one correct information, that is I'm storing in something called key which is called Ford. And if you see this Tata, so I'm here storing this informations in this Tata. Okay, now let's say I want to have one more elements. Okay, so that's going to be called phone. Okay, the phone is the key, and in the phone key I want to store a dictionary. Okay, like about the informations about more about the phone model and each and everything. So I can go ahead and say what, like name. Okay, name I would say maybe I can just say brand. Okay, or name whatever you wanna. So I would just go ahead and say Apple. Next what I want is, let me just put some extra line here, and I would say that maybe model, and the model I want 16. Okay, this is 16, and I would say I want price 999. Okay, now so let's see. First, this is my dict. In the my dict I have a complete dictionary. You can see it here. So in my dict, so usually dictionary we call it as a dict. I call it as a dict because it's a short form. Now let's see what is happening here. So in my dict I have a key which is called Ford, and I have a key called Tata, and I have a key called phone. Okay, very simple. So let's understand it very simple way. Now in this Ford I can store tuples, I can store a list, you have seen already, and I can store another dictionary. Okay, so here it is a complete dictionary. See, when I have given the example for tuples, you can see that this is a complete tuple because it has different elements inside a square brackets. If I just see this one, this is a list, right? So I, as a list, you just need to have a different elements and inside this square brackets. Okay, now here what I'm doing inside this for key, and I'm storing complete informations about like model, price, name. Okay, so this is a complete dictionary. Why? Because this is also a dictionary, right? Why? Because it also has the data based on something called key and value. Key, value, key and key, value. Now here also I can store a list. Okay, here also I can store a list. Here also I can store a list. So let's make very simple, not complicated. Now here you see this has nothing to do with outside, but for this outside, which is a key, for this key, this is the value. So this is a single value for that. But here we have what? Here we have a complete dictionary. Okay, so this is fine. Same way we have done for this one, which is called data, and same way we have done for phone. Now let's me just go ahead and create this. Okay, so what you need to ensure that each element after the key, so after the value, each element should have something called comma, right? So to ensure that you are adding the second element. So now it is fine. So let's kind of try to see if in case we can access this Ford, and let's say we want to access for this Ford, we want to see the name. Okay, so how do you do? So we can go ahead and say what is this dictionary name? It's called my Dict. So we can go ahead and say my Dict, and from the my Dict, let's say you need to give the value what you want, you need to give the key what you want to access. Let's first see all the keys. Okay, so we would say keys, and you can just execute it. You see I have 3 keys: Ford, Tata, phone. Okay, so that means first key, second key, third key. Now this is fine. If I want to see the values, I can go ahead and see the values. So this values is going to print all this dictionary because we have only dictionary, right? You can see I'm getting all the dictionary. So my first values, which is starting from here. Okay, that's my first values. This is my second values. Okay, so and this is my third values. Okay, fine. Now what I want is that we want to access this model, this name. Okay, so this name is what? This name is part of this key, which is called Ford. Okay, so we want to see the Ford, what is the name for Ford. Okay, so for that you can simply go ahead and say my Dict dot, not dot, you can, for if you want to use dot, you can just say get, but I want to show you in simple way. So I would say, see, as soon as I enter this double quotes, because the system already knows that okay, there are three keys, so that means you're going to enter the keys, so you can get auto suggestion. So I need Ford. If I want to see the Ford, I will be getting the Ford, whatever I have inside this Ford, because this is the key and this is my dictionary name. So based on the key, I'm getting the elements. You can see it here. Now what I want, okay, from here I want to see this name, right? So for that I would just use one more square bracket, and inside it, as soon as I enter one more square bracket, I can see all this automatically keys that I have inside that dictionary that is available here. Okay, if I want model, if I want name, I want price, I can say name, and you see the name is equal sport. If you want model or price, you can see the price is 25,000. Okay, so let's understand what is happening, how it is happening. So we're saying my Dict, and inside this square bracket you give the key and you get the values, which you have seen in the simple example. Now as we have in this, if you usually give this key, you get the values. Okay, so that's going to return the complete values, right? So if I just remove it again, that's returning complete values. Now this complete value itself is a Dict. Okay, now for any Dict you can simply use a square bracket and you can use the key to access the values. Okay, so if you just use this square bracket, you get to see all the keys. Okay, now here you enter whatever the keys we want to, whatever the values you want to see, you can enter that values key. Okay, so that is what happening here. Let's say I want to see all the keys of this, which is called key, which is called phone. So for phone we want to see all the keys, not the values. Okay, so for that what you can say here, I can go ahead and say phone. Let's just run it. You see in the phone I have this Dict, and in this Dict I have everything. I can see it here: brand, Apple, model, 16, price, this. Okay, now what I want is that from here, from this I want to see only the keys. Okay, now if I just execute it, you see, I just need to add this parenthesis. You see I am getting all the keys that I have in my this Dict. Why? This function itself, it is returning a Dict, and for Dict you can use this get keys, right? Dot keys functions to see all the keys. If you want to see the values, so you can say dot values, you can see all the values. So same functions. Okay, that means inside one Dict we're storing one more Dict, and functions and everything remain the same. Okay, let's say from here I want to change this brand Apple to Samsung. Okay, so let's say how we can do it. Now For that I would simply go ahead and say phone. Let's see all this information. So I have all this information. So what I need to change is that for this brand I need to change this to Apple to Samsung, right? So first I need to access this brand, right? So for that what we can say here is that I can just put one more square bracket and I can use the key. So for this Apple, the key is brand, right? So I can go ahead and say brand, and you can see I have the Apple. I can use the assignment operator, and here I can just use Samsung. Okay, so at the end I want to see the my Dict. Now you can see here in the my Dict I have phone, and the phone brand has changed to Samsung. Okay, so this is what we do. Now last functions, one more which I want to show you today, that's going to be delete functions. So you can use del functions. Okay, del functions to delete any object that we have in the dictionary. Okay, even you can use a del functions to delete like tuples, delete like list of variables. Okay, so you just need to say del and you can enter this kind of this key. Okay, so let's say I want to delete this, so I would just go ahead and say del and my Dict, which is my dictionary. If I just execute it, it's going to delete the dictionary as well, but I don't want to delete this dictionary, but I want to delete kind of this key which is called maybe I want to delete a specific, I want to only delete this price, so I can also do that. So for that I would just go ahead and say my Dict, and from the my Dict what I am looking for is kind of the phone. So phone what I want, and from the phone what I'm looking for is kind of this price. Okay, so it is only going to delete this which is inside this Dict. It's going to delete this price completely this time. Okay, now if I just want to see the result, so I would just print my Dict at the end. Now you see in the phone I have only brand and model, so that means this price is gone. Okay, so this is how you can delete it. This is one way, or you can use the pop functions. Now let's say I want to add this back, okay, with a different pricing. So for that what I can do, you just need to use the same functions. Okay, so I would say my Dict of phone and price and equals what I want to store is simply add the price. So let's say I want to add the price this time 1299. Okay, so let's run it. Let's see the result. My Dict. Okay, now you can see the price is added, which is 1299. So simple same functions that we have used in the simple Dict we're using here as well, and you just need to use the assignment operator if in case you want to add a new values. Okay, so today whatever we have learned we're going to apply in that mini project. So that is how we will end our day. And by the way, I have added exercise questions, which is going to be 10 exercise problems which you can solve by yourself. If you are having any challenges while solving these problems, do let me know. I will make a complete video in the futures where I will show those problems live. Okay, so for that let me see what are the problems we have. So today's problems are going to be here. If you just click on this exercise notebook, you will see these are 10 exercise I have added. So now if you solve all these 10 basic problem, trust me, your dictionary concept is going to be clear for forever. Okay, now this is very helpful for the people who are solving these problems. Every day I'm adding some exercise, and it really takes a lot of time to write those problems and then check them and then add them in the exercise for based on the topic. Okay, now I really appreciate your time. If you're still watching this video till here, I would really request you to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not subscribed yet. If you have subscribed, that's great. Just make sure hit that like button and do share your thought, and let me know if you have solved all this problem. Okay, let's go ahead and now see our project that we will build today. So I think that is in this, which is called here. Let me just see. So let's see the projects. The project says e-commerce product lookup system. Okay, now you are managing a e-commerce store with 3 products in different categories. Each product has attributes like product ID, okay, name and price and stock. So it says the project focused on dictionary manipulations and string operations to retrieve and modify the product data. Now let's see this dictionary. Okay, so this is a nested dictionary. You can see it here. So we have a dictionary called e-commerce store. Inside this dictionary I have 2 keys. One is called e-commerce, one is called electronics, one is called clothing. Okay, so in this electronics I have 2 elements. In the first elements I have called 101. So this is the key, right? So this is the key. Now if you see this main dictionary which is called e-commerce store, that the key has called electronics and clothing, right? 2 key, and these all are value. So this is the first value which belongs to electronics, this second value belongs to clothing, right? Now coming to here itself, it is a dictionary. So here I have 2 key. This is first key, this is second key. Okay, now in this key I have one more dictionary. Okay, so this is called nested dictionary. So here you see in this key I have what? I have called name, which is the product name, the price, product price, the stock, the product stock. Okay, so this time I have 3 Dict, which is called inside one Dict I have one more Dict, and inside that Dict I have one more Dict. And the way you understand is very simple. Inside this e-commerce dictionary, I have this two key, and inside this key I have kind of these two elements, and one of the element has one dictionary and the second element has this dictionary. Okay, very very simple. If you just need to kind of read it to understand it 2 or 3 times. Okay, now then what I have is that I have simply created like the category in a list, a very simple way. Okay, and I have created tuple called new product with this information which we will use for testing purpose. Okay, so new product, inside the new product I'm storing 301 is the product ID and product name and this stock. Okay, so let's understand it here. Okay, now once I am here, I can see that okay, in the electronics, which is one of my dictionary, which is one of the object of this dictionary. Now in this electronic elements I have kind of two product, one product this and second product. Okay, now 101 is the product ID, this is the second product ID, this is third product ID, this is fourth product ID in this key, and these are in this key. Okay, now here I want to see this information, right? So I have name, smartphone, price, and this kind of the stock. Okay, so these are also one more dictionary. Now what I want to do is that we will see that with the task that we will perform. So we will add one product, we will add one elements into this electronic category, and that is going to be here. So that is going to be one more element. So we need to ensure that when we add an elements, that has to be in the same shape, right? That's going to be like, that should have a product ID is the key, and then that will have like all this value. Okay, so that is what we will see. Let's go ahead and see the task that we will do with this data set. Now it says access the specific product by category and ID, manually access the laptop in the electronics category. So we want to access this second product, which is called a laptop. So based on this key, which is called product ID, and based on this electronics, which is called one more key. Okay, so let's see how we can do it. So for that I will just go ahead and kind of use these functions in a Python file. So let's kind of create new file called app.py, and let's open it here. Okay, so I have just created app.py file, and here we are going to test it. So for now I'm just going to comment it out, also comment it out. Okay, let's copy the task. So we have all this task, I'm just going to copy from here to here. Okay, let's add a comment called task, let's add a dot string, and I'm going to put on my task. Okay, now let's first see the task one. It says access a specific product by category and ID. So we want to access category and ID. Okay, specific product we want to access laptop. Okay, so for that what I can go ahead and say here is that if in case we want to access from here, we want to access laptop, so we can go ahead and say that electronics, this is a dictionary. From this dictionary what I want electronics. Okay, now from this electronics what I want. Okay, so from this electronics I have this the complete dict, which is for this key I have this value, right? So I can access this value. So from this value what I want, so from this value itself, it is a dictionary, right? Itself it's a dictionary. That means dictionary, every dictionary has a key and value. So I want to access this 101 or 102, so I can define the key. So I can go ahead and say key what I want is 102. Now if I go ahead and print it, okay, I need to print it because I'm using Python now, so I would go ahead and say print this. Okay, let's run it, right click, run in terminal. So here you can see I have name, which is called laptop, price this, and stock, which is this. Okay, so this is how we have accessed specific product. Okay, so very simple approach we have used in a nested Dict. Now next what you want, let's see that task one is completed. Now let's see the task two. Now it says next task is that add a new product to the store, use new product tuples to add the block to the clothing category. Okay, so I'm going to make it little complicated here. So what I want, we want to add a new product. Okay, so new product, let's say I want to add it here. Now I'm going to define a new product in the electronics. Let's say I want to define something called new product, which is going to be new product, and I want to create a tuples. So the tuple will have kind of all the informations about the product. So I want to have the product name, so that's going to be called iPhone. Okay, and then what I want is the price. So the price is going to be, let's say 1299. Next what I want is the stock. So stock is going to be, let's say 25 piece. Okay, so this stock is a string, so I need to put inside the single quotes. Okay, so this is the new product. Now I am going to create a function that the system is going to ask for this input to enter this number. Okay, because that is the task. So we would take this new product information from the user based on like this similar pattern. So product name, the price, stock, that's it. Okay, so we can use the input function here. We can go ahead and say input. Okay, and I'm going to say input what, so I want user to enter the product information, so I would say enter product info separator comma. Okay, so each product info the user must enter separating comma. Okay, so that is it. So this one, as soon as user enter that, I'm going to store it something called prod info. Okay, now once user enter it, I would ensure that I'm going to use strip functions which we have covered in day 1 or day 2 to remove all this space. Like if user enter product like something like this, okay, iPhone, something like this, all this space that is after trailing or leading space is going to be deleted using the strip functions. Next, as the user is going to enter the product like this, okay, like same like this, separating by comma, so I will use this comma to split the data and convert the data into a list. Okay, which also we have covered. So we will say the delimiter is comma. So now in this product info, I will have what, I will have the list. Okay, the informations in a list. Okay, like this way. So that is fine. Next, what I need is that I need one more thing here. Okay, here I need one more thing, that is kind of the product ID. So I have forgot to add it here, so I'm going to say one more, that's product ID also user is going to enter. Okay, so I will go ahead and say user will be also entering product ID, maybe 105. So user is also going to enter a product ID. Okay, now first I need to convert this product ID into int, because all the product ID you see I have here for different categories, they are int. So when I will store the data, I would ensure that they are in the same data types. Okay, for that I'm going to use something called, so my product, from the my product I would be accessing the first element, which is the product ID, because user first will enter the product ID. So I would say my product of this product ID, which is going to be 0. Okay, so this one I am going to convert it, right? This one I'm going to use a typecast called type, not type, this is going to be int. So now when user enter any input, that is always in a string, so we need to convert it, right? So I would go ahead and say int of my product 1. So that means the my product 1 I'm converting into a int, and this one I'm just going to store in what, this one I'm store it something called my product info, and from my product info what I want is 0. Okay, so this function is going to do what, I would just say data cleaning and converting product ID to int. Okay, so simple, I have used simple functions here. You can see I'm just typecasting that product first element, product info first elements, and I'm storing that into, which is called product info the first. Okay, that is how the first element of this user input is going to change to int. Okay, now that is fine. Next, what I want, once this is done, I can just go ahead and kind of print here to kind of show you the result. For now, before go ahead with the function, so I would just go ahead and say print. Let's see the product info if it's actually working or not. Okay, so this one user is going to enter. Now user cannot enter other space, so we'll kind of delete it. Let's first see if in case this function till here is working or not. So I'm just going to for now comment everything out, and this one also comment out this, and let's kind of run it. Okay, so right click, run in terminal. You can see here it is asking enter product info separating by comma. So I would say product info, what I want is like 105 is the product ID, and the product name is iPhone, and the price is 1299, stock is let's say 5. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have done one mistake here. Okay, now I missed one thing here. I need to convert it to a list, right? I'm saying strip and I'm using it incorrectly. I would just say strip, it doesn't take any argument. So strip, and here I would just use this dot split functions, okay, to convert it in a list. Okay, now my data is going to be in a list, and now I can test it. So I would say run in terminal. Now it is asking for the product information, so I would say 105, product name iPhone, and model is model, I would say price 1299, stock is 5. Okay, you see now I have the data. This number doesn't gives the quotes, that means it is an int. Okay, so this way I will collect the data. Now once I have the data, okay, I have the data which is here, right? Now this product info is my new product, so I'm going to use this product info as a new product. So what I will do is I will go ahead and say new product as a tuple or list like this, and I would just say product info. Okay, so this is fine. Now let's say what else we need. Let's just convert it back to code. Okay, so we want to add a one product. The user is going to enter all these elements. Okay, user is going to enter this kind of product ID, name of the product, price, and the stock. Okay, so 4 elements user is going to enter. Now to add a records in a dict, how do you add a records, right? I have already shown you earlier, so we will go ahead and say that we want to add a records. Okay, so here I'm going to say adding new product. Okay, so we will create a function that is going to add the new product. So for that I would just say e-commerce of store, and I would say this square bracket to access the electronics, and from electronics what I want. So in the electronics I want to add a new product. Okay, here usually you need to give the key. Inside the electronics we need to give the key here, so whatever the key you will give the key here, and then you can say equals. Okay, and here you give the values whatever you want to store, all the values. Okay, so here we will go ahead and say that the values we want in a kind of dict. Okay, because see the key is going to be the product ID and the values are entered in a dict like this. Okay, so we have to enter the values like this. So let's just copy, for just for example let me just copy it from here to here so that it is going to be easy for us. Okay, now what we're saying that hey, e-commerce, this electronics, and this key, whatever the key we will be entering, in that key we want to insert, we want to save something, we want to store something. What do you want to store? Like this. Okay, so that means I'm storing a dict at the moment, at the end I'm storing a dict, right? So in the dict what I want to store is that I would have a different keys. So I would go ahead and say the keys I would have in the dict is going to be like this. So here I will go ahead and say that my key, which is going to be first the name, so name, and inside the name I want to store whatever the name the user is going to enter. So I will put it here, that's my first element. Let's go ahead and say the second one, which is called other than name, what I want the second element, that's going to be called the price, and in the price I'm going to store whatever the price user is going to enter, and I'll give a comma, and then I would say next is called stock. Okay, now whatever the stock user enter I'm going to store it here. Okay, so this price is also kind of string type key, stock is string type key. Okay, now in this price and this, in this kind of this stock, we will be adding the values that user has entered. Okay, because we are going to collect this key also from the users, we're going to collect this name also, price also, stock also. Okay, so let's go ahead and see here. You see, if you see like my string, which is going to be look like this user is going to enter the product like this. Okay, so what we will do is that you can see you already have this data, right? This is what, let's say, user is going to enter. So let me just copy it here. Okay, so we would need this key. Okay, here we are saying e-commerce store electronics, and we are adding a new key. So the new key is here, right? So how do you get this? See, you know that user is going to enter something like this with 4 elements, a list. And how do you get this first element? To get the first element you already know, right? So you can go ahead and say what you need from this list, the first element. So the list name is called new product. Okay, so we can say new product of, using simple indexing called 0. So that means you will be getting the first element. Okay, now this is going to do what? Inside this e-commerce store dict, and in this dict I have a key called electronics. In this electronics key I will be adding something called this new product 0, that means 101. So that means 101 is the product ID I'm adding inside this electronics. So this is the key, that means this key will take another value, so that value is going to be this, right? Now this is itself is a dict, so here we just need to manipulate with the value. So what I want is here name. So for name what I want is the user, whatever user has entered, so that is going to be my second element, which is this one, right? So for that I can again use the same new product of, instead of 0 I would go ahead and say new product of 1. Okay, because the indexing start from 0 1, right? So here I want the product name. Now here I want the product price. So for that I would just go ahead and say what, the new product. Okay, new product of what? So I will go ahead and say here new product of 2. Okay, that's the price. And let's see the next one, which is called stock. So for this stock I would again go ahead and say new product of what? So 1 2 3 4. Okay, that's going to be 0 1 2 3. Okay, that's going to be 3. Okay, so that is fine. Now new product of 3, here I'm saying new product of 2, and here I would just need to delete it and I would just enter it again. So what I will say is that, which is called new product of 0. Okay, now this is the key and this is the value. Okay, so here this is the price is the key and this is the value, so I don't have to define inside this a list. Okay, this is the stock and inside this stock I would be storing this. Okay, so fine, let's kind of enter it again. So what I want here inside this new product, what I need is the name, so that's going to be name. Let's add everything in the next line. Okay, so name, and in this name I'll be adding the name whatever the user is going to enter, so that's going to be new product of 1. Okay, so new product of 1. So from this new product list, okay, from this new product list I'm accessing this name, which is going to be 1, 0 and 1, right? That's my first element. The second element is going to be simple, that's going to be price. So price is a string, I would just say like this, and the price is going to be whatever user has entered. Now we have taken this from the user, right? So I would go ahead and say that it is entered by what, the users. Okay, new product of, it is called 2. Okay, so the price is like in third, so it's going to be 0 1 2. Okay, that's fine. Let's start again and let's put the third element, that's going to be stock. Okay, so user is also going to enter something called stock. Oops, so I would just go ahead and say stock, and so here I'm going to add a new product from this new product list that I have created. I would just enter to access the fourth element, that's going to be stock. All right, so our update is done. Now this is going to add inside our nested dict, this is going to add a new product inside this electronics category, and then it is going to print a message. Okay, printing output. Okay, so we will just say print, and what you want to print is that product added, okay, successfully, also stock updated. Okay, now here we can show the stock as well and the product as well. So for that I would just use F formatting. Now if you have not gone through the day 1 and day 2, so in the day 1 and day 2 I have covered this F formatting. So here what I want to update with is kind of, I can go ahead and say this new product of, product name I want, so that's going to be 1, and here what I want is that call stock is going to be 3. All right, so it's going to output the result. Now I think everything is fine. So we have this, here we are collecting the data, here we are changing the data types of the product ID, and where we're saying new product information, so we're storing that same thing into new product, and that's going to creating a list something like this, and then we are kind of adding that product using simple, you know, the update functions. Okay, so now let's go ahead and execute it. So I would just ensure that user enter the same informations without any space. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this space. Now I'll just go ahead and right click on it, and let's say run in terminal. So you see it's asking for the product info, so let's enter it. Okay, perfect. Now you can see the message, right? It says product added iPhone, which is successfully, also stock updated to 5. Okay, if you want to see the data, now we can just go ahead and see the data as well. So for that I would just need to execute it again. I want to print one more print, so I would say my dig, it's kind of called e-commerce. Okay, e-commerce store. So let's say right click, run in terminal. We need to enter the informations again. Let's clear the terminal. Okay, now let's add it again. So let's see if in case I have the file in directory. You see I have this app.py. So to run it I can just need to say python app.py. Okay, so it's asking for the product information separating by comma. So first we need to add the product ID, that's going to be 106 this time, and product name, that's going to be iPhone 17, and the price is going to be, I want 1799. Okay, dollar. The stock I want maybe 50. Okay, cool. Now you can see I have printed the entire dictionary. Okay, so it's kind of showing it here that I've entered the product. Here it is showing product added successfully, which is product iPhone 17 successfully added, also stock update to 50. Okay, now if you see my dict, which is electronics, in the electronics I have kind of this 101, which is all this smartphone, 102 this values. Okay, for 106 I have iPhone 17, okay, which I have added, and something else also I have it. Okay, so this is how we have completed this task, and now I have added two more problems which you can solve by yourself. So this problem says that convert a product name to uppercase. So it says change the product name to uppercase. So let's say your task is that convert iPhone, okay, to uppercase. Now based on key. Okay, so just make sure that you convert the iPhone, which is a value that is stored in 105 or 106 to uppercase. Okay, and you can let me know how it's going to be. So I will just save it. I will save it. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. If you really enjoyed this content, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.